Deep in the remote forests of Siberia, a man named Valentin lived alone in a modest cabin on the outskirts of a small village with no family to accompany him. Although he never had access to formal education, his sharp mind, friendly nature, and resilience in the face of hardship made him a respected figure in the village. When Valentin was offered a job as a forest ranger, he accepted without hesitation. The job seemed perfect for him. He had spent most of his life in the mountains, learning every trail and path in the area like the back of his hand. Every day, Valentin would walk through the forest, observing the surroundings and ensuring everything was in order. One cold and quiet winter morning during one of his usual patrols, Valentin found himself trudging through thick snow. He had to stop every few steps to catch his breath. During one of these pauses, he suddenly heard a faint whimper. Curious, he stopped to figure out where the sound was coming from, but every time he moved closer, the whimpering would stop. At first, Valentin thought he was imagining things, but just as he was about to continue on his way, the sound came again, this time closer. He realized it was coming from a bush nearby. Carefully approaching, he brushed away the snow to reveal a tiger cub. The poor creature was whimpering in pain, shaking its head to remove the snow piling up on its fur. As Valentin stepped closer, he noticed blood staining the cub's fur and deep bite marks on its body. One of its legs seemed broken. Determined to help the little cub, Valentin gently picked it up and hurried back down the mountain to his cabin. He made a bed from old clothes and carefully bandaged the cub's wounds to stop the bleeding. Using sticks he gathered from outside, he splinted the cub's broken leg to stabilize it. Believing the cub must be hungry, Valentin warmed some milk and brought it to the animal. Despite its pain and exhaustion, the cub reacted slightly when it smelled the milk. Valentin placed the bowl on the ground and the cub cautiously sniffed it before slowly lapping at the milk with its tongue. Valentin dedicated his days to caring for the cub. He learned how to feed it properly and did everything he could to ensure its recovery. Thanks to his efforts, the cub grew stronger by the day. Its wounds healed, though a noticeable scar remained on its leg. Valentin named the cub Gore. Within 6 months, the little cub transformed into a majestic tiger. Gore often accompanied Valentin on his patrols through the forest, playing in the grass like an oversized house cat, bringing joy to his human companion. Though Valentin loved seeing Gore happy, he knew that the tiger was still a wild animal and couldn't live in captivity forever. Eventually, he made the difficult decision to release Gore back into the wild. One day, he took the tiger deep into the forest and said goodbye. But as he turned to leave, he noticed Gore following him. The tiger, just as he had for the past 6 months, stayed close by his side. Valentin was unsure how to keep Gore in the wild. Desperate, he shouted and tried to scare the tiger away. His plan worked. Gore, seeing Valentin angry for the first time, backed away in fear and ran off into the depths of the forest. Valentin walked back to the village with tears in his eyes, feeling an emptiness he couldn't shake. As time passed, Valentin continued his patrols but never saw Gore again. Over the years, the tiger faded into a distant memory. Meanwhile, Valentin's health began to decline. One day, during a routine patrol, he collapsed in the forest. A hiker found him and rushed him to the hospital, where doctors diagnosed him with kidney problems. They recommended surgery, but Valentin couldn't afford the costs and declined the operation. Returning home, Valentin resumed his duties as a forest ranger, though he took more frequent breaks due to his worsening condition. 6 months later, another medical emergency struck and his kidneys deteriorated further. Once again, he refused surgery and tried to manage his health by slowing down. One summer day, during a patrol, Valentin saw smoke rising from the trees in the distance. Realizing something was wrong, he quickly understood that a wildfire had broken out. The flames spread rapidly, and soon they were dangerously close. Weakened by his health, Valentin ran down the mountain as fast as he could, but his frail body gave out. He stumbled and fell to the ground, unable to get back up. The fire continued to close in on him. Believing there was no hope, Valentin accepted his fate. No one would find him in time, and soon he would be consumed by the flames. Just as he prepared for the inevitable, a tiger appeared before him. It was massive, its piercing eyes locked on him. Valentin didn't know what to do. The fire was at his back, and now a tiger stood in his path. He closed his eyes, accepting whatever was to come. But the tiger's next move shocked him. Instead of attacking, the animal grabbed Valentin's clothing with its teeth and began dragging him away from the fire. Dazed, Valentin followed the tiger down the slope. Just as they neared safety, a burning branch fell, knocking Valentin to the ground. The tiger, also burned by the flames, didn't leave his side. Instead, it pushed the branch away, clearing the path. The tiger led Valentin back to his cabin. Once there, it gently nuzzled its head against Valentin's legs in a gesture of affection. At that moment, Valentin realized he wasn't dreaming. He recognized the scar on the tiger's leg. It was Gore. Overwhelmed with emotion, Valentin whispered, "Gore." The tiger lifted its head at the sound of its name and let out a powerful roar before turning back toward the forest. As Valentin watched Gore disappear into the trees, tears streamed down his face. His heart ached, but he knew that the tiger was where it belonged. With a trembling voice, he called out, "Thank you, thank you." Please don't forget to like the video, share it with your loved ones, and subscribe to the channel.